What's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BoxingWave10. Daniel Jacobs. I saw the fight the other night. I was tweeting a little bit throughout the fight, but I didn't watch the entire fight the night of the fight. So when I was tweeting, just know that I did not see every single round. I seen the majority of the second half of the fight, but I missed some of the earlier rounds. Okay. As I was watching the fight, and I did watch the fight again. I watched it a couple of days later, and I thought it was a toss up. All right. There were a lot of swing rounds in there, and I thought it could have been anybody's fight. I think the fair thing to do, it should have been a draw, but I don't think neither one of them really did any enough to win, to be honest. However way you scored it, if you had Gabe winning by a couple rounds, that's cool. If you had Daniel winning, that's cool as well. It was one of those fights where it was a lot of swing rounds, not a lot going on. But people weren't excited about this fight. People thought it was really like way beneath Daniel Jacobs to fight Gabe Rosado at this point in his career. Guy that's been in there giving Peter Quillen his first loss, giving Gennady Golovkin one of his toughest fights. Many people still believe that Daniel won that fight. And then, fighting Canelo, and to have those fights and to step down and fight someone like Gabe Rosado, who I respect. I love Gabe. I've been covering Gabe on this channel since I had this channel. A lot of fights that I've done speaking on Gabe, Jermell Charlo breakdowns, Lemieux breakdown. I don't know. It's been a lot of fights where I've been covering Peter Quillen. All of these fights I've done videos on. I've been around that long. So I love Gabe. But I'm a Daniel Jacobs hardcore supporter. I've been watching him for years. For years. And, he's a New York fighter. Big supporter of him. But something isn't right. I don't know what it is. I was thinking I only went back to watch the fight because it wasn't a good fight. It really wasn't. But I watched it again just because I wanted to figure out what was going on with this fight. What was Daniel Jacobs doing here? I just really didn't know. What was the plan behind it? And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm comparing his performance against Gabe to other fighters, not just the elite fighters. I'm talking about other fighters like a Selecki, like Arias, I don't know, a few guys, Chavez Jr., some of the guys he's fought. And then I had to think as well, he's not with Andre Rozier anymore. His fight was Canelo. With Canelo was his last fight. And they had issues. I really didn't like the fact that they broke up because Andre has been with him his forever. That guy was training him since he was young. So I thought it was real messed up that whatever thing they have going on didn't work out. I really hope they still fix that relationship. I don't know the real truth behind it. I know what people are saying. I know what I've heard. I've heard things from people that know both, but I don't want to put that out there because I don't know myself. So I don't want to put that business out there like that. But look, I don't know what it is with Daniel Jacobs, but he showed Gabe way too much respect. I know Gabe is a good boxer. I think he's a solid boxer. All right. I know he has a lot of losses, but he's still a solid boxer, And I understand that, but there was no reason why Daniel couldn't turn it up just a little bit. A little bit. Like he seemed so uninterested in the fight. He didn't look motivated. He looked fit. He looked in shape. I seen him at the weigh-in. I said, he looks good. Gabe looked good. It just seemed like even if Gabe is boxing well, and Gabe looked great, even if he's doing well and he's giving you some issues, I just would think that with the experience that Jacobs have at this point in his career, he would be able to beat Gabe soundly, like to a point where it's not debatable, you know? Even if you don't knock him out, because I feel Daniel is just not as aggressive as he used to be. You know, and I also believe that he fights on a level of his opponents. Like, this is why I'm comparing to some of the other fake guys he's faced. You know, when he steps down and he takes those in-between fights, you know, he kind of fights where he's just like, he's winning the rounds, but I think he can go harder, but he doesn't. You know, he fights a really, like, he'll use the rounds, you know? But I don't know what's up with Daniel. I just would hope, I hope he's not past it, because he has so many other fights that we can still get from him. You know, he's what, 33 years old? We could still get a good fight at 168 with, you know, with Saunders maybe, or, you know, we could still get the Jamal Charlo fight. Or maybe with one of the other PBC guys at 168, Plant or Benavidez, or there's so many more fights that can still be made without him looking like he's totally done. Like, it's not like he's been in wars. He's been stopped before. You know, he's recovered from having cancer. And he's made it to the top at 160. And now he's at 168. He doesn't have to worry about being drained. But since that Canelo fight, and I know a lot of people weren't happy with the Canelo fight, I thought the both of them showed way too much respect for each other, you know? But I've gone back and watched that fight, and I said, you know, not for nothing, but the fight was closer than what I thought originally. You know, I thought the two of them really, it seemed like a hard sparring match, really. They showed too much respect to each other. But when I've gone back and watched it, it was a pretty good fight. It was a pretty competitive fight. You know, Canelo clearly won, but I didn't think it was that wide. You know, I thought it was pretty close. But anyway, I just don't understand what's up with Daniel Jacobs in performance like that. You made it where a lot of people thought you lost the fight. Even though they gave you the fight, that's just not a good look. That's not a good way to go into a Billy Joe Saunders fight, or even a Jamal Charlo fight. If that fight is to ever happen, that's not the performance you give. And you know what? One of the subscribers said to me too. I think it was Deuce on Twitter. He hit me up and he said, you know, he didn't look good against Chavez Jr. neither, and he's right. I totally forgot about that. Even though Chavez Jr. went on and did the Chavez Jr. and quit in some point. I didn't like Jacobs' performance in that neither. I thought he was catching some. I mean, I haven't gone back and watched it, but I remember him catching a lot of right hands from Chavez Jr., and I was surprised. Because, you know, at this point, you're not really expecting much from Chavez Jr. And even in that fight, I wasn't really impressed with that performance neither. So I would have to think maybe he's just not motivated anymore. Maybe he's collected those big purses, and I think maybe he's just not motivated. Maybe it's the opponent he was facing. Maybe he just doesn't respect Gabe enough. Maybe it's Andre Rozier. Maybe he needs his trainer back. Maybe he needs his original trainer back in his corner, because something is off. You just don't perform like that against a fighter on that level. Again, no disrespect to Gabe. No disrespect. But Jacobs, this is not a hit on Gabe. Gabe looked as good as Gabe would look on his best night. But for Jacobs, this was his worst that I've seen him. And he doesn't strike me as a guy that's past his prime. He's just not. Like, again, he hasn't been in no wars like that. And he's went on to do great things against fighters that he stepped up when it was time to step up. Even in defeat, he looked much better. Deverenchenko, Canelo, Triple G, Quillen. He stepped up and he's done better against the better opposition. So I would think is one or two things for sure. I think he just isn't motivated when he's fighting guys that's not on his level. He took it way too easy. He's literally giving away rounds. And number two, maybe he needs his original trainer back. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope if he isn't motivated, and only he can answer this question. If he knows in his heart that he's not motivated for this no more, just retire. You've made enough money in this sport. I'm sure you're taking great care of your family. He's a very respectful, one of the classiest boxers in the sport today. I'm sure he's doing the right thing for his finances. He's dating Angela Simmons now. I didn't even know. Someone left a comment the other day. I didn't even know he was dating Angela. I didn't even know. But I mean, hopefully they're happy. Everything is working out. But that wasn't it, man. That wasn't it. And even the Chavez Jr. fight, that wasn't it neither. It just wasn't it. So anyway, make sure you guys hit subscribe if you haven't already. And hit me on social media. I'll see you guys later. Peace.